Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome back to the free-to-play review, and boy, do we have a topic for today. The Deck of Disappointment, also known as the Asgardian Deck of Fate. Man, oh man, did they do us dirty. Not only is there no way to use shards, there's no summon rush, it's required to be Soulstones as well as champion training, but they also absolutely nuked the points that you get for doing so. On top of, like, I guess there's no pinning as well with this particular iteration in the Deck of Fate, so just everything that they could possibly have done wrong, they kind of did on this one. So if you guys haven't seen other people's videos, essentially the amount of points you get from Soulstones are reduced by 40%, and I hear that equivalently, like, the champion training is reduced by a similar amount, somewhere, 30 to 40% across the board. So yeah, it's just like whatever you would have had to have done, basically double it, and that's what it's going to cost, and that's just turning off so many people, and spoiler alert, myself included in that category. If you look at all the rewards you can get from this Deck of Fate, it's essentially just Freyja. Obviously a Void Shard's nice, a Primal Shard's nice, some Essence is good, a couple Legendary Tomes if you happen to flip the entire deck, and if you are still somehow going for Freyja, then you're basically going to have to flip the entire deck, because her fragments are like under a bunch of commons, a bunch of rares, and a few of the epics, and so it's just across the board. There's like 20 something, over half the deck are her fragments, and so it is kind of ridiculous. For anyone who's unfamiliar, Decks of Fate are probably one of the most unpopular forms of events in the entire game, but one of the main gimmicks is that if you get 3 of a kind in a row, and again we can look up here, there's 40 cards in the entire deck, 18 of them are common, 13 are rare, and 9 are epic, and if you get 3 in a row, 3 of a kind in a row, then you have a chance to roll on these respective tables. We kind of thought that the new pinning feature was going to be here to stay, where you can pin a higher rarity, that being a rare or an epic, and then you can keep maintaining your streak up until eventually you get all 3 of a kind, which was kind of a nice thing to kind of combat the natural RNG of this style of event. But yeah, I guess because this is a special one with the champion up for grabs, they decided to not do the pinning thing, nuke all of the rewards, as well as nuke all of the milestones. So yeah, there's not much more I can say about it from that perspective, so let's hop over to the spreadsheet, which will be linked in the description box down below if you want to check it out for yourself and see the math behind all of these things. But essentially, it's pretty bleak what they've done. You can see here all the milestones are reduced by their respective amounts, and in order to get 40 flips, for example, you would need 667 mortals, which, good luck. I doubt most people, myself included, have that many. 67 immortals or 14 eternals. Now, of course, there is the champion training portion where you could do some champion training to get yourself some flips, but even this is a way worse. This was probably around like 9,000 or 10,000 for just making a 6-star champion from scratch, and now it's all the way down at around 7,000. So you'd have to make like 6-star champions from scratch, meaning all the way making all the chickens 2, 3, 4, 5-star, and then making a 6-star, leveling them up all the way up to 52. 6 times just to fill out the entire deck, and that is an insane ask over the course of the next 4 days. Now, obviously, if you're not doing the fusion, then you probably have nothing else to be doing, and you could do some champion training, but if you're not going to go all the way and to max out the deck, I don't really think that's of significant value compared to doing whatever you would normally do during CVC, or just running Sand Devil, Minotaur, Shogun's Grove. So yeah, I'm not even going to bury the lead here. I was interested in going for Freyja up until I saw what exactly this would entail. As I mentioned before, kind of like what I said yesterday when it comes to like champions like Odin, Freyja was a champion to me who would be nice to have. She's more of a want, but not someone who I'm like, oh, I really need this champion. I've said this to like my friends and my clanmates alike, that essentially I saw her as a budget Siphi, and just because she has the increased defense, she has the block debuffs, granted the full cleanse as well on top of it, but if I'm being honest, she's not really like Siphi. The passive is nice and it can be useful in a lot of situations, but it is not a replacement for a revival ability, because if they die, and there's many ways to skip through her passive, if they die, they're gone still, so she can't be just a soul protector in case anyone goes down. But it is a nice situational passive that can really counter things like a Georgian one-shot, a Baron one-shot, or Teox one-shots, all the popular Sigfrind, all these popular nukers in the game now. You can kind of just protect your one champion from that big one-hit wonder type ability. But like I said, she's kind of a nice to have, a want champion, but not someone I'd really need. If this was actually Siphi instead of the budget Siphi, so to speak, then I'd probably be a lot more tempted to go for it, just because I know Void Legendaries are extremely hard to come by, and she's one of my most wanted, so at least it would be more of a conversation about, is this worth it or is it not? The way this is for a champion that would just be nice to have, it's not worth it. And I want you guys to understand that in my particular instance, it's not that I can't actually do it. I have more than enough Soulstones saved up to do it. I have 320 on the Mortals, 22 on the Immortals, and 1 on the Eternal. But if you look up here in terms of coins that I could convert over, I have 18 more Immortals I could use, so that's 40 Immortal Soulstones, and then I have 3 more Eternals I can make, which is 4. So I technically speaking have enough Soulstones to go for it, but it just feels so like raw of a deal that I just don't want to do it. Kind of on principle, but kind of just, it just doesn't feel like something that's worth it, worth all these resources that I've saved up. So I'm gonna pass. I know a lot of people are gonna pass. I'm not happy about it because I was really hoping to get her, but you know, it needs to be worth it. The incentive needs to be there. There's no boosted rates or anything to kind of help. At least I'd get something along the way. There's no chase tournament or anything like that. Soul chase tournament, obviously, because it's just the Deck of Fate. So there's so much stacked disincentives on top here that it's just not worth my time or my resources. So unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to say goodbye to Freyja Fateweaver. In terms of a formal recommendation, if you really want her and you have the resources, then you might as well, because this is probably the best opportunity in the game to get her. It's just going to be very costly, but again, if that's something you really want to do, who am I to say that it's not the most optimal choice for you in your situation? But I have a feeling that most of you are kind of more so in my camp, where it just doesn't feel worth it anymore. It might have been, depending on if they had played this, played their hand, pun intended, a bit differently. But yeah, this one just feels so scummy, and I just cannot really, in my heart of hearts, recommend that anyone actively participate in this. Maybe if you want to do a little bit of champion training and just get a couple of flips here and there, who cares if you get any of her fragments? Maybe you'll get the legendary tome or the primal shard or something just by happenstance. That'd be kind of cool. That might be worth it. You know, make 1 6-star champion, a couple 5-star chickens, or whatever you got to do, especially if you're skipping the fusion. But other than that, my recommendation for you guys would just be a hard pass on this one. Doesn't feel worth it, and it really is a shame because I have been waiting to pull my Soulstones. As you saw, I have a pretty large stack of them, and I would like to, you know, try to chase down more souls from the wish list and all that stuff. Hopefully get us the first soul ever, even 1 star I'd be happy with for my Galathir. So yeah, just real sad vibes all around. Now I turn it to you guys. Let me know in the comment section down below, what is your plan relative to the Asgardian Deck of Fate in its new and horrendously underpowered form. As always, if you did find this video helpful, then be sure to hit that like button down below. It really does help out the channel, and feel free to subscribe to the channel for more content just like this one in the future. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.